AOC.
Yeah, but first, I think we should have a moratorium on white dorks on Zoom calls. You know, we have Fastis and we have fan mail, and I just can't listen to those Nate Silvers and these solicit people that bites into this glorious show. AOC. What? She's kind of fun in a silly but earnest, wrong but adorable way. She's like your daughter when she comes back from her first year at Brown, full of half-baked, half-opinion.
With the assurance of someone who recently came upon Wikipedia and chose to use a fun fact section as a foundation for the economics of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, once again made headlines with a sneer. And just when you thought it couldn't get much more ridiculous than her acting like she knew economics, Greg Gutfeld, the rhetorical equivalent of a fly swatter, shows up to clear the air.
Some gentle, patient deprogramming. But people have to realize new faces doesn't mean new ideas. Drives me crazy. AOC has never introduced a fresh idea or issue in her life. The reason why she gets along with Bernie is because she's like an 80-year-old leftist in a used bookstore. I mean, she may look fresh, but she's as stale as an abandoned futon on the street. It's like, I listen to her, I go, I heard that at Berkeley in 1983.
During one of her typical campaigns, she passionately emphasized a freshman who had just watched such cable shows how billionaires are terrible, money is fake, and we can solve all issues by shouting tax the rich louder than reality. Like many iconic AOC moments, it began with a camera microphone and no idea of what she was talking about. Next came Gutfeld, a man with the comic timing of a roast master and the patience of someone who has had to listen to AOC explain interest rates as though they were a social construct.
I pay people to wear handcuffs. But she did this because she knew the media would obey. Let's watch the tape. She'd be a great mime. Like the Latina version of Marcel Marceau. In fact, here she is later in her jail cell. Of course, AOC was mocked on social media for imitating being handcuffed, which is a change from her usually being mocked for imitating a congresswoman.
Imagine AOC with her trademark expressions of incomprehension, indignation, and fervent support for the notion that capitalism created jobs and that the economy should operate as a team effort where everyone benefits whether or not someone puts in significant effort or it. And as is the case with any respectable rank, a Gutfeld sipped metaphorical tea while watching this intellectual panata swing wildly against unseen foes. He didn't have to fight as passionately as someone attempting to program a VCR using interpretive dance. Instead, he simply watched her dissipate.
He's taking a break from doing nothing to get into a beef with the Twitter chief. On Tuesday, she tweeted, LMAO at a billionaire earnestly trying to sell people on the idea that free speech is actually an $8 a month subscription plan. That's a reference to Musk's plan to charge people $8 a month for verified blue checkmark status. But he hit back tweeting, your feedback is appreciated. Now pay $8.
When AOC makes its seventh pitch for this proposal, it's like watching someone try to sell a ghost blend of good vibes that are mostly noisy, confusing, and a little scary. He doesn't have to fight to be fair because she would really like to spend the $8, even if she has already purchased a Tesla. He also attempted to steal the pricey item for $58 by posting a picture of some ugly AOC items on Twitter. Of course, you brought up the Green New Deal once more. It's eco-friendly yurts, cows are put down, and aeroplanes are prohibited. However, when she claims Excel would pay for itself, she really means that she hasn't used it since college. So everyone listening believes you let the numbers fail her completely.
She'd love to spend the $8, but she already bought a Tesla. He also tweeted a photo of some ugly AOC merch she's trying to hawk for $58. Overpriced merch, AOC. Seems pretty capitalistic of you, which according to you makes you evil. And according to anyone paying attention, also makes you full of...
Remember how she performed when she defended her economic beliefs? A genuine lawmaker is one who explains that unbridled government spending is basically simply monopoly money using straightforward gestures and elegant fonts. Inflation is behaving like it's on Red Bull, and the price of food and beverages is masquerading as a luxury good. Yes, let's sharpen the economic sense of someone who believes capitalism is to blame for the shortage. She once suggested that the government should provide job guarantees because, with a hiring process as slow as a turtle and molasses chosen at the DMV, nothing could go wrong. However, these days, your employer controls your lunch break, and a committee that only meets every other Wednesday decides what to eat without even changing his tie. With no passport required to buy anything from AOC, the audience were practically ripped out of their fantasy world. It was similar to witnessing someone free prisoners from an escape game filled with vegan slogans, Marxist memes and inspirational sayings, along with her typical policy play about fever dreams and phrases from unsuccessful group endeavors. AOC had prepared the scenario, but Gutfeld, like a wry paramedic, silently escorted a bewildered crowd out of a burning structure compose a combustible talking point.
The ideas is they operate on half opinion. Like, what if we get rid of cash bail? Oh, let's do it. What happens? You have repeat criminals wreaking havoc. What if we have sanctuary cities? Hey, let's do it. What happens? You have rapists and killers, finding sanctuary, safe haven. What if we give trans rights that we don't have? Well, you just ruin women's sports. You ruin safe spaces. You make kids' lives hell. But you don't they never think about what their ideas incentivize. That would be nice. So where are their ideas going to come from?
If a TikTok influencer were to channel Karl Marx's spirit, then yeah, let's create more money so that everyone gets free stuff, she said. While we're at it, let's make gravity optional and see how it affects things. Her economic proposal appeared to have been hammered out at a computer-powered seance. Flying when AOC supporters abruptly became quieter than Whole Foods following a power outage, her logic collapsed under its own weight. There was a stunned silence followed by the distant mutter of a broken espresso maker, and the massive climate fear part appeared as usual. Gutfeld didn't even need a clever response. He simply let the absurdity out by holding up a mirror.
They're not meant for you, right? But then you have to ask, okay, then what is this debt forgiveness? Who is it meant for? And when you look at the data, it's upper, white, middle-class, liberal women. This ain't welfare, right? These are well-to-do people. It's a bribe for Democrats on the backs of plumbers, truckers, and everyone else who actually does a real job, unlike me. AOC is the symbol of the entitled sponge. She complains about student loans, but she owns a Tesla. And worse, she owns a French Bulldog. Thanks to Cat Samp, I know everything about French Bulldogs. And one thing I know, they are so expensive. They're more expensive than any college tuition. You got to take care of them. They're adorable dog, but she owns a Tesla and she owns a French Bulldog, and she wants you or your dad, the electrician, to forgive her student loan. That's BS. Turn in the Tesla, sell the dog. I'll buy it half.
According to AOC, her iconic dance of doom, which is similar to Al Gore's PowerPoint but has more eyeliner and less facts here, is on life support and receiving care using reusable straws and hashtags. Even the man who created the doomsday clock is likely pleading with her to press the snooze button at this point, as she sobs once more in what began to feel less like science and more like a recurrent dream she can't seem to shake. She has 10 years left,